Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to What the Deaf podcast. So, I just wanted to bring up this discussion with you
Okay.
regarding an unfortunate situation. We had gathered for your Aubrey's celebration of life, which was really a beautiful gathering. It was so heart-touching. It was a beautiful day to gather and celebrate with people that you love. It was beautiful.
I was a sobbing mess, though. But
Aw.
yes,
I teared up and I don't cry.
I know. I got Carly to cry.
Your song that you signed was just absolutely beautiful. But so with our 11-year friendship, I have never experienced a gathering with your family where an interpreter was brought in. And so I was curious to see what your feelings and experience with this was. And I'll share mine because it was really a beautiful experience for me personally. Honestly, I really enjoyed it, but I wanted to see what your perspective was.
Yes. Okay. So for me, every time that you and I, Carly, went to a family gathering, I would always end up interpreting and facilitating conversation. And I mean, we discussed this on the podcast before, where we talked about how I feel like I'm not really sure how to facilitate conversation and still maintain my own identity with my family. Until recently, again, my dad, I finally got through to him and he started learning sign language. And now I'm noticing from my extended family, we're getting through to them as well about my identity and your identity. And it was such a freeing moment to have an interpreter. And it was so nice because I can finally finish eating my food.
Yes. I even pointed that out to your cousin. I was like, this is the first time I've seen Sarah finish her food at a family gathering.
You have to understand, because typically what happens is I start interpreting all the cousins' conversations and aunts and uncles, and I'm trying to eat my food, but then I have to interpret at the same time, and everyone's talking over each other, and I don't want to be left out, and Carly, I don't want you to be left out, so I continue facilitating conversation, and I forget to eat. And you all know by now, me and food need to get along.
Yes. And that's why I always keep saying, like, Sarah, it's fine, just eat.
Nope.
But
No.
she feels that burden of having to facilitate the conversations. But yeah, that gathering, I was just able to be there. And for the first time, Sarah and I split ways. We were able to separate and socialize.
We went our separate ways.
Yeah. And we always go places together. And I never really spoke to any of your uncles or your aunts alone without you until now. And I was finally able to do that. So I hope that was like a really good experience for your family to see, like, oh, because all you see is us going places together and you facilitating for me.
They never really got to know you either.
And so it was really nice to experience that. And it made me just feel at ease. So it was really good to see you be Sarah and finish your food.
Yeah. And I could socialize with other people. And not worry about you and your accessibility as well. And I did have a discussion with my cousins prior to that event. It was just a coincidence. And we talked about why you haven't really been showing up to a lot of our family events lately. And I did explain to them why. And they just were taken aback and they were like, oh, we didn't realize. And then now having my grandfather, his celebration of life gathering, and having an interpreter there, I never felt so free. I just relaxed and I could just be me, and Carly can be you. And I don't have to worry about you. I could just worry about myself. And also, if you didn't notice, I'm deaf too. I miss a lot of things. So some of the interpreters will come up to me and help me out. And the whole time, the people in my family and family friends finally got to see that side of me.
Yeah.
That was always there, but I just kind of skated along.
And we ended up having a really deep conversation with a few of your family friends. Lovely people. But we had gotten to a point where we dug so deep, and to see their reactions. And one of the biggest things that hit them was when they realized that you only understand 60% of all your conversations this whole time that you've ever had with them. You know, all the conversations you've ever had with them, you only understood 60%. And that moment finally clicked for them because there was an interpreter there. And we could just explain our experiences, our perspectives as two different deaf people. They asked me if I could talk and realized I couldn't, and how you could. And yet you can only understand 60%. So the things that they realized and how much work you had to do and how you just went with it and understood them.
Also, these people have known me my entire life, even before I was born. And now they're just starting to realize just how much work I've been putting into this. But again, it's not all on them. It's also me. I made this decision to just go along with it and not say anything. I will admit, I'm really good at tricking people into thinking that I fully understand what's going on with the conversations, but without them realizing, oh, I'm really deaf. And people who come up to us after this podcast and they never realize how much I work to accommodate them. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I mean, I guess I'm really good at it.
Yeah. But I do think it was beautiful that we were able to have that healthy conversation.
Yes.
There were some comments that I made that were very to the point and very direct, but it was in the most respectful, healthy way. And they took it really, really well. They were able to digest it and say, okay, how can I respond to this situation better next time? How could you, Sarah, improve and not fake it the whole way and let them know what your needs are next time? And so I just think it was a beautiful thing how we could just continue having this healthy dialogue with them. But I do have to mention one thing that was really interesting, and I never really thought about it. When the event was over, I had gone home with my boyfriend, and he made the comment in the car and he said, I hope that there's just one day where I am able to go to a social event with you and you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to continue repeating and educating people and explaining your identity, explaining your experience, and explaining your life story when that party was not about that. And I was like, I was dumbfounded. I was like, oh, because that was so normal to me. So normal for me to the point where I was like, you know what? You're right. This whole time I was in this deep conversation where other people are just talking
Talk about
about,
life or random
talking about
things.
life and memories of your abui and how much they really appreciate that. And, those little things while you and I are having this deep conversation about our life, our struggles and barriers and how we can break down those barriers, those small things. So I was like, wow, for my boyfriend to mention that, it just got me thinking. I'm like, no, we do. We are able to do that. But at deaf gatherings, when you and I go to a deaf gathering or a deaf event, we don't debate or talk about how to educate hearing people. But in hearing gatherings, yes. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing by any means, but
No.
it's just something that I was like, yeah, you're right. It was just so interesting.
But again, we're in a minority group where we are considered not normal in society, where many people just have no idea. In my whole life, I've tricked people, all my friends and families and family friends. They still don't really know to this day. And the fact that we really have to get into a deep discussion, which is not a bad thing. Again, we love to talk about stuff like this, but it's interesting coming from your boyfriend and his hearing perspective, where we might feel that this is normal, but he feels a little different. And he said that he can't wait for us to have a normal conversation. I'm like, I don't think that's really ever going to happen because I go to parties without you, Carly. And I feel like my deaf identity still gets brought up. Somehow it will.
Right.
It's just an interesting perspective. But yeah, you're right.
But again, you and I have had this conversation before. And I think it's very interesting that you say oftentimes you have to have that conversation about your deaf identity, but nobody ever mentions anything about your appearance.
Right.
Why?
I don't know.
Like, what is it?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I feel like with my deaf identity, and we talked about this before, but I feel like with the deaf identity comparing to my appearance are two completely different things because I feel like my deaf identity has a community, has a culture, has a language, has so much richness that I really can explain to other people. While my appearance, I don't know. And it's funny because no one really is curious or asked me about my appearance. I don't know if they're afraid to or what. But yeah, you're right. I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah. Again, like you said, it's amazing to hear my boyfriend's perspective because with my upbringing, it's so normal to the point where I forget that it's not normal in many other people's lives. So sometimes when he points those things out, it gets me thinking and I'm like, oh, so this whole time my conversations with people are not typically normal in a social event.
But I feel like it's exciting though.
Right. And that's why I'm always so engaged in these conversations. But I can picture that there are other deaf people who become exhausted from it. They don't enjoy these discussions. Growing up, I've always been a strong advocate. I work in the career field of supporting deaf people. I've preached and educated people on how best to work with us appropriately. So it's already embedded in me, but there are some people who just want to be normal
and have a normal conversation without bringing up their deaf identity.
Yeah, without it being brought up. And I personally think that would be nice sometimes, So it's just so interesting and amazing to hear that perspective and be like, oh, you're right. But again, I'm very grateful that you and I are able to have these healthy conversations.
And for me, it's exciting for me to watch hearing people that I talk to, their eyes light up and get bigger. And there's a light bulb that goes off and they're like, oh my God. And I feel like it's such a beautiful thing to witness because they're fortunate enough to have two deaf women with completely different perspectives right there in front of them to really make an impact in a different way. And for some reason, I just love it. I love to talk to people.
And I do think that it's important for people in the audience to take away from this. Make sure that deaf people are open to it first. I don't want to sit here and say that, we enjoy it so much, but it doesn't mean other people enjoy it. And I think for me personally, I always repeat myself with people. When we start to get into heavy conversations, I always reassure them that this is a safe place. I'm fine. Ask me anything. I'm happy to answer because from my perspective, I'd rather have you ask me now than ask somebody at the wrong place and wrong time and get a bad experience from within our community. I'm an open book. Ask me anything. And everything that I can educate you, I hope that you can carry on to other people that you meet. So I think it's important for you guys to remember that not everybody's like Sarah and I.
No.
We just like to have these dialogues. We're an open book. We're happy to answer questions and give different perspectives.
And we always say this on the podcast. We're just two deaf women out of the many different types of deaf individuals out there. And this is just our perspective and our stories. It does not mean that everyone agrees. And that's the beautiful thing about this world. Not everyone has to have the same perspective, but we all can bring our experiences and journeys to the table and have an open discussion and make it a positive one too. That's why I love us and our podcast.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, COVID is now starting to go away and social events.
Not completely. It's not completely gone.
I didn't say completely gone. I said it was going away.
Oh, yeah. Sign language explanation.
Good luck, interpreter, voicing this. I don't know how she's going to say this, but anyways, point being, COVID is now starting to get better and we're noticing social events increasing. And we had talked about this, and I don't want this podcast to give you guys all a reason to stay home and continue listening to us. We do encourage you guys to go out.
And experience the world.
Meet deaf people.
Meet us.
Interact or find us. So, which means we have decided to put a pause on our podcast. I don't know what the future holds for us or this podcast, but you still can always find us
everywhere.
Anywhere. In person or.
And we have had an amazing 3 seasons, such a variety of topics. And I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you and how grateful we are for you all. We consider you family and your friends and listeners and watchers. We really appreciate everything you have provided for us and the opportunity you've given us to share our stories and be vulnerable with you all. And we can't thank you enough for your support, your love, your acceptance for who we are in this podcast. It was such an amazing experience, such a learning experience. But like Carly says, I think this is the perfect timing to wrap season 3 up. And it does not mean that we are completely done. But I think for now, we've decided we wanted to take the opportunity for you all to go out in the world and have some fun and taking what we taught you and what you've learned and experienced and just go out to the world and share it and have discussions with each other.
And like I said, you can always find us on Instagram at What the Deaf, and our email is still open.
Yes.
So please, we would love to have interactions. And I just have to mention how much I am very grateful for you, Sarah. To have you as my other half through this 2-year journey of COVID, starting the podcast and everything. And not just the 2 years, but the 10 years before that. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we went to Abui's celebration of life, and it reminded me of how fortunate I am to have your entire family invite me to be a part of your family. And I hope that I can always continue to carry on your grandfather's glow that everyone talks about. And for those of you who don't know Sarah's grandfather, he's very similar to Sarah. Their family has this glow, this light, and touches anyone's life. And I hope that I can continue to carry that in person for the rest of my life, and to always remember to have a positive outlook on life, whether it's something small or big. Make it a positive experience. And so, again, I just want to say I'm very grateful for you and your family.
And I'm so thankful for you as well and all that you've given me. You helped me discover my deaf identity. You've helped me become such a strong, independent woman. Through our 10 years, now 11 years of friendship,
Wow. Yeah.
we have navigated so much together to the point where this podcast became successful because of you and me and us together. You are such a beautiful person, and I'm so grateful to call you my other half, my best friend, my person. Through everything, we created this. And I just can't thank you enough, Carly, for allowing me to be vulnerable with you and accepting me for who I am, and for being my friend through thick and thin. I just cannot thank you enough. And I'm thankful for you all as well for everything.
And we just hope that we will hear from you guys or even see you in person.
Ooh, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys soon, I
All
hope.
right. Yep.
Bye, everyone.
We would like to thank dpan.tv and their services at aslcaptions.com for making the transcripts and captions of this podcast accessible for everyone.
If you're looking for captioning or transcript services, they do amazing work.